Welcome and hello. This is another Commander deck tech, this time for Bruce Banner slash The Incredible Hulk from the upcoming 2026 Marvel superhero set. This is a really sweet commander with a whole lot of tech, a whole lot of smash, just a big, beefy combat deck. So, let's take a look at this commander. There are two sides. There's quite a bit of text on here, but I promise it's a good one. So here we got Bruce Banner, simple 1/1 human scientist hero. Not much to see here. One blue, XX tap, draw X cards, activate only as a sorcery. Pretty sweet. Good little mana sink there. But 2 mana, red, green, transform Bruce Banner, activate only as a sorcery. You can also, this is sort of one of those newer flip card designs where you can pay this cost to red, green, to just play him immediately on the other side. So you can either start by playing Bruce Banner or start by playing the Incredible Hulk. So this is the side that the deck is really all about. The Incredible Hulk, Gruul creature, red, green, 2 colorless, reach, trample, 8/8. Whenever the Incredible Hulk is dealt damage, put a +1/+1 counter on him. If he's attacking, untap him, and there's an additional combat phase after this one. And he is a Gamma Berserker hero. Quite a type line there. So this ability is kind of complicated. It is a little bit like Firelord Azula, where like it only triggers during attack. I mean, the other ability happens no matter what, but this sort of second half of it, where you get an additional combat, that only happens if the Incredible Hulk is attacking, much like Firelord Azula. Um, but a couple things to note about this: it does untap him, so he can attack again. You always get that counter no matter how much damage he takes. It's only just one counter, so he can still die. You have to keep track of the damage that he's taking, which might be a little bit tedious, because his toughness will be going up, but only by 1 for every 1 damage he takes. But then you get this additional combat phase, you untap Hulk, he can attack again. This means he's very difficult to block. I think if the Incredible Hulk is attacking, you should just get out of the way, which is probably wise, because it's just an 8/8. If you can't kill it, it's just gonna trample over and deal even extra damage. If you block him with a 1/1, you take 7 and then you take 8, so you're taking 7 bonus damage than if you had just gotten out of the way. So he's a very great attacker, but there's even more than that because we can damage the Hulk. And that's what this deck is all about. It is all about triggering this ability ourselves. So it's an enrage pingers deck. So this ability is called enrage, which has been printed a couple of times throughout Magic, mostly on dinosaurs, but on a couple other things too. But then pingers are these little creatures that are able to tap to do 1 damage to the Hulk. So they are able to just get him angry, make him mad, and get him to smash, get him to keep attacking and attacking. So these pingers, got a whole bunch of them. Here's an example here. Rootwater Hunter, 3 mana, 1/1, taps to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. You want to look for the pingers that can damage creatures. There's a lot of pingers that can only damage players. Those are good in other decks. In this deck, you want to be able to hit the Hulk. So you want to be able to ping the Hulk. And cards like this doesn't seem very good. 3 mana for a 1/1, not a good rate. 1 damage really isn't going to be able to kill any creatures. Maybe some mana dorks, maybe some tokens. Not really what you want for a 3 mana card. But being able to give the Hulk another combat is huge. Just being able to just keep smashing in. Hulk is very quickly going to be able to do enough commander damage to kill your opponents. Commander damage on the Hulk is very real. With that trample, it's just going to be hard to stop him. It's kind of weird that he has reach because you are just not going to be blocking with this guy. maybe you'll block with him once, but then after that he's just going to be smashing in, and once you get like 3 of these pingers down, then the Hulk's going to be able to attack like 4 times a turn, which is very quickly going to be game over. So we have a lot of these pingers. Most of them like cost 3 mana, can do 1 damage. Some of them have haste. Some of them are red. Some of them are blue. Some of them are both. This one costs 2 mana. We've got a couple of just like Spike Field Hazard, just does 1 damage. Can be a land if we need it to be. Just these one-time effects. Flame Fusillade is only a one-time effect as well, but it gives our whole board the ability to ping, including all of our lands. So if we have 8 lands and we play a Flame Fusillade, we can ping Hulk 4 times, which gives us a total of 5 attacks, which is probably going to be game over. So we've just got this huge reservoir of these pingers that we drop down. We build them up as we're sort of like dropping Bruce Banner, putting down some ramp pieces, putting down some of our pingers, and then we have a turn where we flip them, start smashing. One cool thing about this commander is that you can play it for 1 mana. You can play it on turn 1 when usually not that much happens. Like if you get lucky, you can play a Soul Ring. You can play like a Llanowar Elves or something. Like not that much happens in Commander on turn 1. But with this deck, we can drop our commander. We can drop Bruce Banner. And when we need to, we can just sort of drop some mana in here and draw some extra cards if we're really looking for land drops, if we've got a bunch of extra mana for some reason. And then when we transform him, he sort of has haste because he's been sticking around. He doesn't have that summoning sickness. So this can just be kind of a way to get the Hulk all ready, to sort of slot him into wherever our mana curve allows us to slot him in, which is really, really great. And then he's just going to be swinging in, doing all that damage. And we are going to be sort of building our deck around the ability to do those little bits of 1 damage. We also have a lot of we have blue, we have red, we have green. We've got the pingers of blue and red, and the mana dorks of green. So all of these cards are sort of there's a theme of tapping and untapping. So we play all these mana dorks that give us our mana. We play our commander even that can tap to draw cards. So we have a whole bunch of decks, or a whole bunch of cards in this deck that untap all of our creatures. Cards like Unstoppable Plan or Quest for Renewal. Quest for Renewal allows us to untap during each of our opponent's untap steps, doing a little impression of Seedborn Muse, kind of, meaning that all of our pingers, instead of just doing 1 damage, now do 4 damage. Which is just we can put a bunch of counters on Hulk. We can do 4 damage to our opponents, which is eventually going to do something. Like, do that 10 times, they're dead. Or we can trigger some of our other enrage abilities, like Vrondis. Vrondis here is sort of doing his best impression of the Hulk. He has got enrage. When you hit him, he makes these sort of little spiritual copies of himself that are 5/4s that they die whenever they deal damage. But if we're pinging Vrondis enough, then we just have this huge army of spirits that is going to be able to knock out our opponents. So we sort of have this enrage pinger strategy focusing on the Hulk, but not necessarily completely on the Hulk, because we've got all these pingers sitting around. We can get value out with them if we need them. Ideally, we're just using them to win the game with the Hulk. But if our opponents are getting in the way of that by killing the Hulk, we use them for other things. Like we can ping this Body of Knowledge to draw a card each time we ping it. Got 3 pingers out, we can draw 3 extra cards, make the Body of Knowledge even bigger. We can ping some of our enrage dinosaurs, like Ripjaw Raptor. Draw a card every time we ping that. Ranging Raptors. Get a land every time we ping that. Or Hornet's Nest. Get a 1/1 Flying Death Touch every time we ping that. Or something our opponents really don't like. We give our pingers Death Touch. We make it so they become instant kills. You want to watch out when you do this, though, because you will kill the Hulk if you do this. So make sure if you put this on a pinger, you do not ping the Hulk. Really, really good to be pinging your opponents with it. Also really good to give Hulk Death Touch, because then his trample gets a lot bigger. He only has to do 1 damage and the rest tramples over. But just make sure you don't accidentally kill your commander. Uh, so yeah, all these great things we can do with these pingers. And then we have this sort of resiliency where if the Hulk dies, we can just sort of keep doing stuff. We can use a card like Will Breaker. So whenever our pingers ping our opponent's creatures, we get to gain control of them. We get to take them while we have Will Breaker. Same with a card like Charisma. This one only works for 1 pinger, but has the same effect where we give one of our pingers the ability to ping and steal something. And then like Apex Altasaur, if we're pinging this, it's a board wipe pretty much, because it fights something and then that takes damage. Oh yeah, speaking of fighting, we do want the Hulk to be able to fight stuff. So our disruption, a lot of it, a couple of them are fight abilities, like Uvenwald Tracker. This also taps, which is really great. So we really do want the Hulk to be fighting things rather than punching things. So Uvenwald Tracker is much better than Stump Stomp, because Uvenwald Tracker, if the Hulk fights something, we can do this mid-combat. We can have him fight a creature in the middle of combat, giving us another combat. Just really, really great stuff there. Like a Bridgeworks battle. Even if the Hulk isn't mid-combat, it just makes him bigger. Like, what's wrong? There's nothing wrong with having an 11/11 Hulk. That's better than not. And we do try to protect him as well. We've got our heroic interventions. We've got our origin of metal bending. Puts a +1/+1 counter on him. Gives him indestructible. Collective resistance. Sort of can destroy artifacts or enchantments, or give him hexproof indestructible. Because your opponents are gonna realize that, like, it's a little bit obvious that the Hulk needs to go. Because they're gonna get killed real quick by this guy. So we want to be as resilient as we can. We want to have backup plans and backup plans. And we've got this sort of goofy combo here, this goofy color combo of green, red, and blue. So we get to play some silly cards from Magic's history here. Arcanus, kind of a pinger all-star as a 6 mana. You can tap it to draw 3 cards. Every time you untap this guy, you're drawing an extra 3 cards. So if you're using an unstoppable plan, you're drawing an extra 3 cards. If you're using a Fate Stitcher, you're drawing an extra 3 cards. A card like Professor Hojo. Whenever a creature gets pinged, whenever one of your creatures get pinged, you draw a card. A card like Murkfiend Liege. Buffs your board, untaps all your creatures on each other player's untap step. This card is sort of the reason that we're playing a lot of these blue pingers, because he untaps all of our blue pingers. Oh yeah, another thing. So Hulk says that you get 1 extra combat step, and you untap him. You don't untap all your creatures though, which is unfortunate. But if they have Vigilance from a card like Inga and Isika, they can attack alongside Hulk. So every time the Hulk gets another combat, your other creatures can attack as well. So creatures with Vigilance, they just won't be tapping, so they can just tag along. I think this card's a little bit underrated. It does a lot of things. Like, it gives you that ramp, makes all your creatures be able to tap for mana, allowing Bruce Banner to tap for mana. It gives you this card draw. If you spend 3 mana to cast a creature spell, you draw a card. And it gives your whole board Vigilance, which is just a great ability. Allowing even your pingers to attack and still ping mid-combat, after combat, during your opponent's turns, really whenever. So this card, pretty much an all-star. Also leads to an infinite combo with Inferno Titan, because Inferno Titan says whenever it attacks, it deals 3 damage, divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. Also when it enters. So Inferno Titan, every time it attacks, it's going to be able to ping the Hulk, giving you an extra combat, allowing the Hulk to attack again. And then if Inferno Titan is still untapped, Inferno Titan can attack again. So if Inferno Titan has Vigilance, and you have the Hulk, then you win. you you just keep attacking until it's over. Um, that's a pretty sweet combo, but it does involve three different cards. Caltrops is even better because Caltrops, this old card, this old stacks piece from like 7th edition or even sooner, suddenly become a very sought after card. It's this 3 mana artifact. Whenever a creature attacks, Caltrops deals 1 damage to it. So that just goes infinite with Hulk, like from the get-go. Because Hulk, whenever he takes exactly 1 damage, it's great because he gets that counter, negates the damage, gets another combat, triggering Caltrops again, triggering the Hulk again, triggering Caltrops again. So this card's really great. You might want to cut it if you don't want combos. But I just think it's funny that this this like every once in a while a card like Hulk comes around and these old cards suddenly become more valuable. But what else? What else do we have here? We've got some funny ramp spells. I do like this little possum druid. He's got his offspring. Curious Follower, absolute ping deck all-star, allowing your pingers to ping again if you want. Um, and oh yeah, Pyrohemia and Fiery Confluence. Fiery Confluence, a little bit awkward because you can't play it during combat unless you have a High Fate Trickster. But deals 1 damage 3 times, which means that the Hulk gets 3 counters. It's going to kill a lot of your pingers, but sometimes you want to do that. Sometimes you want to board wipe. Pyrohemia, though, much better because you can play it during combat. So for every one of your red mana, you can basically pump that into the Hulk, getting that many extra combats, quickly killing your opponents that way, triggering all your enrages. But yeah, this is a deck that it's sort of following the command zone philosophy of disruption, card advantage, ramp, mass disruption. Just trying to keep all my vegetables in order here. Some of these categories are probably a little bit. People might it might be questionable to say like, oh, Basilisk Collar's disruption, but with the amount of pingers we got, I think it really is. Like a card like Hansk, Slayer Zealot. I do consider this card draw because we're giving our opponents all these walkers, all these zombies, and then we're going to be pinging them down with Hansk himself or with any of our other pingers. We're going to be drawing cards there. Elder Gargaroth, another absolute all-star of this deck. Having that vigilance means that it gets to attack alongside Hulk no matter what. So you can attack with it, draw a card, gain 3 life, or make a 3/3 beast. And then every time Hulk gets to attack, Gargaroth gets to attack. It even can do it when it blocks. Great card here. So yeah, we've got our vegetables, we've got our disruption, our mass disruption. The lands, I just sort of throw these together. A lot of the like price tag of this deck comes from the lands, but feel free to just put in some tapped ones, depending on your play group, how fast everything goes. I just like to have like the best of the best in here. You can definitely run more basics. I'm a little bit low on basics. I'm not so sure about utility lands for this deck. I'd love to hear if people have any ideas. So far, I'm just running like a Bonder's Enclave or a Scavenger Grounds. And then Barbarian Ring. This is the one that I do like because you can sacrifice it to do 2 damage to any target, which means you can ping the Hulk, get an extra combat if you really need it, might win you the game, might push it over the top. So great include, I think. But yeah, the lands don't feel like you have like you don't need to run all these all these expensive ones. I for one don't like to spend a lot of money on my lands, but I just happen to have a lot of these lying around. Oh yeah, Fountain Port. I just like this as a mana sink. A lot of these abilities are rather expensive, but I think just if you're like untapping your lands or untapping your mana dorks, sorry, if you're untapping your mana dorks and you have nothing to do with them, it's nice to be able to just put them into a Fountain Port, make some tokens, draw some cards. But yeah, as you can see on the right here, I've been sort of mulling over this deck for a while today. It did just get spoiled today. This creature It's not coming out unfortunately till like June of next year, so I'm making this commander deck for a card I won't be able to play with for quite some time. But there's just so many so many ways to take this, so many like I'm not even really leaning that much into this card draw ability, even though this is pretty great too. Like XX draw X cards. That's a pretty great rate. Like 2 mana per card. There's definitely some stuff you can do there, but like I've cut so many pingers, just trying to focus on like the cheapest ones. Lots of the blue ones. I didn't really cut any of the blue ones except for this like 4 mana one. And then yeah, just a whole bunch of other things like Moon Mist. This is another card that works with Moon Mist because Bruce Banner is a human, so he does transform into the Hulk if you Moon Mist him. Kind of funny, but yeah, I just there's so many options for this deck. Like you can lean more into the fighting. You can bring out some more big creatures. Like this guy gives everything vigilance and menace. You can play more of these like ping staples. Yeah, I have to make these cuts. I love all these cards. Even Lavisa Cold Eyes. The Hulk is a barbarian, so he gets +2/+2 and has haste. Whoa! Not that great for 5 mana. But hey, yeah, let me know if any of these are like, oh, what are you doing? Why are you cutting that? Or if there's anything I'm like totally missing here. I've got the upgrade section here too. Like Great Henge. This is like almost like a 90% creature deck, so Great Henge is like guaranteed gonna be good. Seedborn Muse, Jessica's Will, just some of the game changers here. I have them off to the side. Gearston Starn. This is sort of a Gearston Starn deck, but there's a little bit of a downside to him though because he makes it so your pingers do 2 damage to the Hulk instead of just 1, but it also makes it so they do 2 damage to your opponent's stuff. That's also really good. So you could include him. I didn't know he was so expensive. Like wow. Um, Also, yeah, more cards to protect the Hulk. So it's gonna be great. Um, like deflecting swat away those removal spells. Also, newest card here, Badger Mole Cub, $85 at the time of the recording here. Um, Makes all your mana dorks tap for more mana. Just really great for this deck. Also makes one, untaps one of your lands and earth bends it. Or I guess they don't. They don't untap the land, but they can return tapped. Yeah, very great little guy here. But Sword of Fire and Ice. If you have one of these, put it in your Hulk deck. Um, you may be a little confused, but whenever a quick creature deals damage to a player, Sword of Fire and Ice deals 2 damage to any target, you draw a card. So if the Hulk has a Sword of Fire and Ice, you hit your opponent, you do 2 damage to any target and draw a card. So you draw a card, and the Hulk deals 2 damage to himself, meaning he can attack again, get that trigger again, draw another card. Unfortunately, doing 2 damage to himself will eventually kill him. But by the time he's done that enough, you will win. And you might be thinking, oh well, he has protection from red, so he can't ping himself. But he can because the sword is the thing doing the picking, not the Hulk. So if you've got a Sword of Fire and Ice lying around, throw it in. And with that, yeah, this commander's sweet. Gonna have to wait a while to play him, but I think it will be worth the wait. So go ahead, check the deck list. It's in the description as always. And if you're new here, I do weekly deck techs, so feel free to check out the channel, look at some of the older ones. Every Friday usually. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one.